Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing our first mental health video. I apologize for not getting out sooner. Had some exams and stuff going on this week. We'll be getting better at posting that within the week in the future. Today we're just going to talk about bad habits and how to break them. Ways that you can kind of prepare yourself to kind of get out of the funk that you want to get out of. I know since I've started the channel that it's mostly been wrestling content. We are going to work on getting more things out there. There will be gaming stuff. There'll be a little more horror stuff as well on the horizon. But so far, this is just kind of the first one I've kind of been able to sink my teeth into a little bit. Currently, I'm going through a mental health class where I'm at for college, and we're discussing a lot of different things like this. We've done things like stress, PTSD, and different disorders and things like that as well. So if you guys do want videos about that, let me know. I can do more research on those topics and we can discuss them as a community together. To start, I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed so far. We're up to 26. That's incredible. I want to thank every single one of you guys. I don't have everyone's names written down, but I want to thank you guys for subscribing and commenting and sharing and getting in on this. I'm really excited to see what we can do building a community here together. Without too much nonsense, let's just get right into it. First, you have to identify the habit that you want to break, right? Everyone has their own time with certain bad habits. I'm not going to get into them for YouTube purposes, just because you can't really mention some of the names around here, but we all kind of know where we're at with those. The biggest part of identifying that bad habit is also identifying the trigger that's associated with it. So if you find yourself reaching for that thing, see if there's something that's triggering you right as you feel that craving for that item. Sometimes it's bosses. We've all been there. Sometimes it's coworkers. Sometimes it's friends and family. It could just be the time of day. It could be stress. Stress is usually the big one for a lot of people because stress happens in everybody's life and it's just not avoidable. But at the same time, if you're finding yourself reaching for that bad habit immediately after having to deal with a major stressor or even a minor one, you might be able to start to kind of plant your base there. And you can kind of see where to go from there, which leads you to step 2. Now, I'm going to kind of list these off as steps, but by all means, this is your own process. You guys are going to have your processes, just like I've had mine, just like someone else will have theirs. Everyone's going to have their own steps and own plans ahead. These are just general ideas and things to help you get started. But for me, step 2 would be using a plan system where you more or less go if that situation arises and have an if plan in place. This is just creating a specific plan that deals with this trigger or triggers directly. So if you're finding yourself like, can't really say the word, but you know, there are things that you want to go out there and do, but at the same time, you know that you shouldn't, and you're taking that step right there, which is fantastic. But what'll happen is when you start to feel that stressor take hold, sometimes it's just as good just to take a second, count to 10, back up from the situation, and try to reevaluate what's happening. And from that point, you can kind of start your plan. It's a lot easier to stick to your goals that way if you find that you know where the trigger starts and where it comes from exactly. A lot of people find that that's the hardest part, is trying to identify where the triggers come from, just because of the fact that they know themselves, and as we all do, we all believe that we know ourselves as much as we do. But at the same time, there are just some things that don't hit quite the same until you take that step back and go, okay, that might be my trigger. That might be my reason. That might be my issue of the day. Yeah, honestly, having that plan definitely helped me out right at the start. It kind of helps stick that foot in the ground to kind of be like, cool, I know this is happening. I've identified that this is happening. I've identified the trigger that's causing it. And now I'm just kind of figuring out how to pass the craving or that need in the moment to get to the other side. So that's a massive step in that regard. Another thing as well, step 3 for me is staying small, but staying consistent. Because consistency is the biggest thing when it comes to getting off of a bad habit or a vice that you have. For some people, that's certain activities. Some people, that's certain items that they use in their daily lives. It just depends on what it is for you. But even just taking that small change rather than quitting cold turkey of that item or that event, just going to less of it, exposing yourself to less of that thing might be the thing that kind of helps you kind of cut it back. For people, when they talk about quitting smoking, regardless of what it is, it can always come back to just going from a pack a day to a half a pack a day, whether it be a lot of something or just a little bit of it to get you through the day. If it helps you out, it's gonna be the start, right? Like for me, I was really, really big at energy drinks, massively. And yeah, obviously they're not good for you. As we all know, you read the cans, they are not good for you at all. The amount of sugar in them, the caffeine, all that other stuff aside, like the taurine, all the other stuff, just when it adds up, it just doesn't add up to anything good for you. I was going through those like 2 or 3 of those a day. And oof, yeah, don't like the feeling that I would get after having the second one, but it was the thing that I used to get myself through the day. And a lot of the time, what I started with in that regard was just, instead of doing 2, go to 1. And I think about 6 months into doing that, I was down to like half. And then one day I just kind of just stopped. It was more or less like, you know what, I really don't need this, drink some water instead, just kind of distract yourself from what you think you need in that moment as well. And a lot of experts really do say that it takes 21 days to make a habit, or change one rather. So if you're finding yourself only able to kind of get it done for the first week or so, and then you kind of have that big cave at the end, that's okay. And we'll get to that later on in the video, but that's absolutely okay. And you're gonna have setbacks. It's gonna happen. That's a natural part of the process. And don't forget that every time that you're having these issues, is that setbacks are part of the process, but the idea is to get back on it. Don't stay stagnant in that position for too long. But yeah, that was my big kicker, and that was essentially where I kind of started from, was having less and less of something, and eventually became less and less to none. And I'd say now I think I'm about almost a year at least without it, and I haven't really looked back on it. I started drinking tea as a result. Actually, tea is much better in comparison, but at the same time, you still gotta try to watch your sugar with the amount of tea that you drink or the amount of sugar you put in that drink. Step 4 is change your environment up. If you're finding yourself wanting to smoke, go take that cold shower. You know what I mean? Finding a way to distract yourself and changing the environment around you to not allow you to fall victim to that need is going to be a huge thing. So like, for example, if it's junk food for you, that's a massive issue. Have someone hide it for you, or hide it in a place that you can't really get to. Like putting it at a really tall cabinet and being like, oh, I have to go get a chair, I have to do this and do that. And your brain will start to kind of tell you, hey man, it's not worth it. Go get another snack. Also having just healthier snacks up front rather than having them way at the back and hidden. That also kind of helps out as well. If you don't really see it, it's out of sight, out of mind. So you might find that that's easier for you as well. These are all just different ways that you can kind of try, right? There's a million different paths that you can go down to find the right solution for you. And by all means, if you find it, stick to it, stay consistent. Again, going back to the previous step, stay consistent. But at the same time, the bigger part in that is changing the environment as well. If you find yourself surrounding yourself with people that are partaking in things that you are not trying to partake in, maybe it's a change of scenery and friendship. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's not great to have to restart over in terms of trying to make new friends, but it might be better for you in the long run, especially if something that you're stuck to is unfortunately really, really addictive. And right now we're seeing that a lot. And it sucks for the people that are going through all that, and we hope to see them get better and get back to where they want to be or where they should be. But yeah, I mean, for what you need in that circumstance, just take yourself out of the physical environment. If you're finding yourself reaching for that pack, change what you're doing. Change the entire thing of what you're doing. Like, don't even go outside, just go wash dishes, go vacuum your floor. Even if it's going to distract you for that 10 to 15 minutes, take it. That's a small win. And those wins add up over time, massively. The next step I would say is you need to have support. If you don't have support, it does become extremely difficult. Not saying that you can't do it without support. There's tons of people that find their own way of doing things and just get it done and stay silent on it. And that's the people that will, go through that 6-month transformation where you won't see them for a little while, and then all of a sudden you see them and they're in really, really good shape. They went and did something like that without really getting many people involved. And that's completely up to the person. But if it's something that you think you're going to need, get support. Whether that's friends, family, or even a support group. Somebody that's going to keep you honest and accountable to yourself. That's, at the end of the day, one of the biggest things is being accountable to yourself. And if you can't be accountable to yourself with that support group, then you need to find a support group that will. If they won't hold you accountable, then you won't hold yourself accountable at the end of the day. For a lot of people, it could be gym goers. It could be NA, Narcotics Anonymous. It could be Alcoholics Anonymous. Or even just as easy as having your closest friends and family get to know what's going on. There's a lot of things about people that you don't really know at the surface until they come and tell you. So if they're going to come tell you, at least be human enough to understand that they're coming to you with that problem and they need support. And be understanding and be patient, because a lot of that stuff is really, really tough to get through. And again, they're going to be setbacks, and they need to understand that that's going to happen. No one's perfect. We don't make it through this life alive either. So in order for us to at least get through life, we need to have that support system, that support net. So find yours and be with them and be honest. Don't try to hide things. Don't try to let things build and fester, because then eventually it leads to a blow up moment where you unfortunately might fall off that wagon, and that's not something you want to see. So remind yourself that your system is out there. You just need to find it. And if that takes some time, that takes some time. But the light at the end of the tunnel on this one is a lot better than the alternative. Just always remind yourself that. I would say for the next one, replace it. Don't just stop. So that kind of goes back to the idea I was mentioning earlier when I said cold turkey, don't quit things like that, because it doesn't always work out that way. But for some people, quitting cold turkey works. For a lot of people going through an extremely addictive process, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be able to work for them very well. So sometimes, for example, I believe there was a documentary that Charlie Sheen did where his guy would make less potent stuff, and he would be doing that over time, where they essentially just cut him off and slowly cut him back without him even realizing it. And for him, that seemed to work. Granted, that might be an extreme situation, because that guy was having his time with whatever was going on in his life. But at the same time, it was better for him to just gradually slow down and then eventually replace that multiple bad habits with something different, something that worked for him. And you're going to find that for you. Where like for somebody who, let's say, is chronically unmotivated to get in shape, maybe it is just stop thinking that you aren't able to get to the gym and go. Just take that walk or take that drive and get there. For some people, it's if you're quitting, drinks, whether it be energy drinks or otherwise, go with low sugar fruit juices. Unfortunately, do you want to go with like a little bit of sugar to kind of offset some of the feeling that you get, because sugar helps you out in that regard? Yeah, it would be extremely helpful to have just that little bit of sugar. So if that's what it takes to get you away from that, use it. But at the same time, you want to eventually replace that with a lot less of sugary stuff. Breathing exercises is a huge one. If you're finding yourself kind of going through those stressful episodes and you're not really sure how to proceed with them, instead of reaching again for the thing that relieves the stressor, maybe practice breathing exercises, taking the 10 deep breaths, connecting with your environment, looking around you. I believe there's a friend of mine, she would know this one just a little bit better than me, but I believe there's the 5 senses. So you have to touch something, smell something, feel something, all that kind of stuff, and follow that pattern of connecting with your environment to kind of bring yourself back down to a normal level, something that you can manage. And eventually over time, you'll find that will work. Stress management techniques, there's a million of them. For me, that was working out in the gym, because at the same time, you go in there a little bit frustrated, a little bit angry with what's going on around you, and you come out after having a great workout. You come out with, you're sweating, you're probably all gross, and you want to go home and get cleaned up, and that's completely okay too. But it's better than the alternative of going through that stressful episode without that alleviation, I guess, that feeling of relief from the pressure or the stress that you're feeling in the moment. Everyone's gonna have their own way to do it. So if that is something as simple as going for a 10-minute walk down the road, if you got a car, if you're lucky enough to have one, going somewhere like Hiawatha, somewhere that's peaceful, quiet, where it's just you, if that's what's gonna do it, don't just quit the bad habit. Use that time that you're gonna spend with that bad habit on that other thing. And eventually, over that 21-day period, that thing will replace what the bad habit was causing you to go for. It just makes it a little bit easier for you in the long run if you have something that you can kind of bounce off of to go to that is not anything related to what you're already dealing with that you're trying to get away from. The next step I would say is just practice mindfulness. When those cravings hit, because they will throughout the entire process, stay curious about the physical sensations that you're feeling, and not reacting to it, but just adjusting to what you need. So, for example, that could be you're tired and you want that energy drink. And you're like, you know what? I want it, but why? Why do you want it? Do you want it because you're tired? Do you think that you really need it because you're tired? And then start to ask yourself that question. Not so much giving into what you want or getting frustrated with yourself for knowing that you shouldn't be thinking it. Just stay curious about how your body feels, because your body will have physical reactions to all of these things. While you have the mental reactions, your body will show the physical signs. And that is another thing to pay attention for, especially while you're processing getting out of that bad habit. It's just that easy. It could be something as simple as having a journal on it. So anytime that you start to feel that craving, instead of just, giving into it, take the journal, write down what you're feeling exactly in that moment. Take that and have that as your track record to figure out, okay, when I wanted that energy drink, this is how my body felt. This is how my mind felt. And every time you have that craving, open that book again, because then you'll see right there, okay, this is how I felt the last time. Nothing's changed so far, and it's going to feel like that for a while, but you'll be able to kind of process it a little bit easier if you understand it from that almost that third person point of view, almost like that outer body experience where you're there seeing what you're going through, but you're not feeling it until you get back in. So maybe just try to keep some kind of track to the thing that needs special attention from you, because eventually that will build that block to stopping you from reacting to that negative habit. One of the last things that I want to talk about, but it's one of the most important, and I mentioned it earlier in the video, be patient and expect setbacks. I can't stress that enough. I've tried quitting drinking energy drinks multiple times, and I've fallen off that wagon. We've all been there. You see it, you're like, you know what? It's not going to hurt to have one. It's not really that big of a deal. No, it's not that big of a deal. But at the same time, you have to get back on that horse. You have to get back on that wagon and that train of thought to at least not let it derail you completely. It's okay to have pit stops, not full on derailments. You know what I mean? You're able to stop here and take a pause, but then you're also able to kind of go, you know what? It's time to go back. It's time to get back to what I wanted to do. And just doing that as soon as possible, as reasonably possible, of course, is the best way to do that. And don't be afraid to admit it either. And talk to that support system that you have about the things that you're dealing with, especially if you do have a setback. If you stay quiet about it and don't talk to somebody about the setbacks that you're going through, you might kind of hit that revolving door of, I'm going to keep hitting the same wall after maybe a week or two. And that's not something that you want to keep doing if this is where you want to get to, right? The absolute last thing we're going to talk about is tracking your journey. For a lot of people, that could be as simple as, again, going back to the journal idea. It could be talking to someone about it. It could be, having a one-on-one with your phone and just setting your phone up somewhere and having a conversation that you never let go anywhere else. It could be starting an entire channel about changing things and doing things, and eventually you will see the results. Seeing where you're at the start to seeing where you could be 6 months down the road is a great reminder of what you're trying to accomplish. For me, that was there was an app that I downloaded. It was called I Am Sober, and you can track multiple different things on it if you want to pay. There's a premium version, but none of that. But for me, I started this app, and it just says, okay, when did you stop this habit? And you said today, and it will start to track your days for you. It'll ask you every single day how you're feeling, what's it making you feel when you're craving it, are you craving it? Things like that are also really helpful. If an app is something for you, by all means, the one that I used was called I Am Sober. I know I said it before, but it is called I Am Sober, and it might be helpful for you. There's a bunch of them out there, but that one might just be it. Some people start blogs about it. Been a few friends of mine that I've seen that have started massive blogs, and they've become huge hits just because they were just starting to share their story, and they wanted to get their words and thoughts out on paper and share it with the world. And it's changed their life in some way, mostly to my knowledge for the better. And a lot of the time you'll find that there are other people going through something very similar. While everyone's situation is completely different, you may find that there's someone out there that's going through something very similar to what you're going through. And if that's the case, it might just be best to even message them and say, hey man, how did you do it? Because I'm going to guarantee if they're a good person, based on what they're trying to accomplish, they're going to want to share with you the things that worked for them. Now, every piece of advice you're going to hear, whether it be me or somebody else, do not take it as gospel. You know what I mean? You're going to find your own way to do this. And the important thing is that you've started. Whether that is watching this video and getting all the way to the end and going, yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's right. Let's just do it today. Because at the end of the day, why not today? Why not tomorrow? Why not next week? It's completely up to you when you start. But at the same time, with a lot of these steps that I've listed so far, keeping that in mind, if where you want to go and you've got your goals in mind, at this point, you've probably got your goals in mind. As long as you have the goals and the destination you want to get to, remember, everything is going to be okay as long as you understand that there is many ways to get there. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for this. There isn't a cookbook or a cure-all book that you can read that will get you to where you want to go. The biggest part of it is you. You're going to have to start that journey. And whatever step you jump in at to start, it doesn't matter, as long as you've taken that step to that goal. Other than that, guys, that's it. That's all. With all these steps, no matter what order you do them, you will achieve the goal that you set out for. Stick with it, stay consistent, and results will come. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Like and subscribe. I'll be here posting more stuff throughout the next little bit here. We're going to be getting kind of a better flow of videos as I get used to filming them and talking with you guys. Please share the video with your friends. Share this video with somebody you think that might need that bit of help. If that's something that gives them that starting point, great. That's kind of the goal of all of this, is to kind of give everybody a place to kind of have a sounding board and a community to build on, that hopefully we all kind of come together. And my experiences will be different than yours, and that's completely okay. And that's the beauty of it all, is that while everything's completely different for everybody, we can all come together and figure out ways to help each other and better our communities, better our streets, and hopefully better our country and world. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments. By all means, reach out. Someone's out there. I'm out there. You're out there. Stay well. We'll see you soon.